Summer's here and that dreaded question is popping up again. If you have limited space, which books will you pack? So I tried to find the ultimate summer reads. Light but still literary fiction, playful but still thought-provoking. I've got something for about anyone, so let's see if we can find you your next summer read. And even if you're not traveling this summer, well, do keep watching, because I have the absolute ideal book for a staycation. Now, as always, I will be linking all of the books I talk about down below in the comments, so you can do your own research. And our first selection for today takes us to Japan. It is an all-time classic from as early as 1937, but it reads as if it was written today. It was meant for young readers, but offers adults so much more. I'm talking about How You Live by Genzaburo Yoshino. I'm rereading it at this moment and it is such a wonderful book. If I had to describe it, I would compare it to books like The Little Prince, Sophie's World. There is so much to take away from it. It feels very Western but very Eastern at the same time. How Do You Live is narrated in two voices. On the one hand, we have the young teenage boy called Copper, who is going through life as teenage boys do, having to miss his father who died early and having to navigate the social labyrinth that is high school. On the other hand, we have his uncle who is an ethics teacher and who talks to him through the medium of a journal. Now the two have a conversation about everyday topics and about the grand schemes of life. As Copper discovers the big questions of life, his uncle is always there to counsel him, to guide him, just as a father would. And the comparison with Sophie's World by Jostein Gaarder is never far away. It talks about science, it talks about philosophy, it talks about ethics, but here's the thing, and this might be an unpopular opinion, but I did not like Sophie's World all that much. This one, however, does it right. It never feels like a science or a philosophy lesson. And while it can get very philosophical indeed, it is always entertaining, fun and light to read. It is a Japanese classic and it is ideal to read in summer. For me, this is the ultimate passenger book. If you're a passenger in a car, in a train, on an airplane, just read this book and pause from time to time, looking out of the window and think and ponder and enjoy. First book for today, How Do You Live by Genzaburo Yoshino. For our second book of today, a rather strange question poses itself. What do you get if you mix Monty Python with Ernest Hemingway? Well, you get this book. Now, both of these men are legends in their own right. Michael Palin as one of the founding members of Monty Python's Flying Circus, and later on he became a documentary maker, a writer, a journalist. Then on the other hand we have Ernest Hemingway. The writer, the journalist, the big game hunter, the terrible husband, and the womanizer. Now one of these two is fan of the other and he decides to go on a hunt. A hunt for the real Ernest Hemingway. Michael Palin attempts to put himself in the world in the shoes of Ernest Hemingway. And this journey takes him all over the planet. From North America, Chicago to Michigan, over to Europe where he finds remnants of World War I battlefields, to Paris, Italy, Spain, fishing in the Gulf Stream, on a hunt for wild animals in Africa, and all the way back to Central and Southern America. This journey spans worldwide. And even if you're not a die-hard Hemingway fan, this book is such a joy to read. It adds the wit and dry humor of someone like Michael Palin into an evocative world of one of the greatest writers of the 20th century. Yes, it is a non-fiction book, but it absolutely reads like fiction. It is an adventure like no other. It is an adventure like only Ernest Hemingway could have. So if you want to explore the world from your couch at home, or you're traveling all about, this is the ideal travel companion. It is small, it doesn't take much place, but it is such a joy to read. Michael Palin's Hemingway adventure as our second choice for today. Now, sadly enough, not all of us will be able to go on holiday. Some of us have to work. So for those who stay at home, stay locked in the office, I have a very, very serious non-fiction book. A book that asks very serious questions. Questions like, what do teachers and sumo wrestlers have in common? And why do drug dealers still live with their moms? Intrigued? Good, because this book will change your view upon the world. This book is all about economics, but not economics as you know or expect them. This book looks at the inner workings of a crack gang. This book looks at the business model behind the Ku Klux Klan. This book identifies the telltale marks of a cheating teacher. It is Freakonomics by Stephen Levitt, and it is still one of my all-time favorite non-fiction books. I never was any good at solving mathematical puzzles, I hate numbers, so it takes a very special book about statistics to have me read it without being able to put it away. This book is not about statistics as such. This book is not about economics as such, not about psychology or sociology. It is all at once. It is about Freakonomics. Let me try to explain this as simple as I can. When we look at the world around us, we apply a certain conventional wisdom. Things that we know, things that we think we know, things that have been proven right. But what if you take the same amount of data that we always use to prove our conventional wisdom and start asking other questions? What if we try to answer the simple but unasked questions? Well, then things get indeed a bit freakish. And that's exactly what this book does. It takes things you think you know and turns them upside down. It will surprise you, it will enlighten you, it will probably make you angry at some point, and it will give you more than enough anecdotes than you will ever need when you have to small talk to anyone at the office. Freakonomics by Stephen Levitt as our third book for today, for all of you poor sods who have to stay at home and work. The rest of us, however, will enjoy a tranquil cruise on the Nile with a beautiful landscape just passing by, very idyllic, and then there is a murder. Now don't worry, you already know who's on board. It is of course Belgian detective Hercule Poirot. I passed over on Death on the Nile in my top 10 Agatha Christie books movie, and the comments let me know, because this book is still a fan favorite of you all. And no wonder, because this book offers two things that Christie does best. First of all, it is a closed space mystery. We're on a cruise ship and no one can get off or in. We know that the murderer is still somewhere amongst us, and who knows what they might do next. And Christie is a grandmaster of this kind of closed surrounding suspense. Especially in Death on the Nile, she takes her pacing very slow. Normally we jump into the murder quite early in the novel already, but not this time. This time she takes her time to parade a whole cast of characters and let us, the reader, meet them. It is as if we were on the deck ourselves, cocktail in hand, talking away to all of the suspects. And then there is, of course, the whole setting of exotic countries, other cultures and travel. Christie herself traveled extensively, and her eye to detail has always shown in her books. Death on the Nile is no exception on this rule. This book is ideal to read from a lounge chair near a pool or on the beach or perhaps even a ship. It sweeps you away to an exotic landscape and a gruesome murder. One of your all-time favorite Agatha Christie novels and an ideal book to read during the holidays, Death on the Nile by Agatha Christie. The next book is a special one. It is the tale of one special summer in America in 1927. And what a year it was. Charles Lindbergh is the first man to fly across the ocean, and Babe Ruth is swinging his way into baseball history. Al Capone is reigning the underworld, and the four most important bankers in the world have a secret meeting where they decide to cause a catastrophe. This book is One Summer, America, 1927 by Bill Bryson. Now, Bill Bryson is probably one of the best known travel writers out there. With a funny tongue-in-cheek approach to the world and everything there is to see out there, he writes the best travel diaries you can ever find. This one, however, is not exactly a travel diary. It is an historical non-fiction that reads as historical fiction. And it is indeed what the title says. It is a book about one summer in America in the year 1927. And it is mind-blowing to read all of the things, all of the famous worldwide known things that have happened that particular summer. If you love a good history book, and I know you do, then this one is an absolute joy. It is never stuffy, it is never just a succession of facts and dates and people, but it is a story with two main characters, Charles Lindbergh and Babe Ruth, and everything that happens in the world around. It has all of the juicy gossip and tidbits that we secretly love about history. So, if you think you're about to have a busy summer, then do pick up One Summer, America 1927 by Bill Bryson. And our last book for today is the ultimate staycation book. It is a book about a garden. It is a classic and it spans over an entire year. This is the semi-autobiography Elizabeth and Her German Garden by Elizabeth von Arnim. Elizabeth knows nothing about gardening. Absolutely nothing. Yet she decides that her source of happiness, her path to joy, will come from having her own garden. So she sets off to do just that. Despite of all of the snarky comments of her husband, her children, her friends and neighbors, she decides it is time to learn how to garden. And while this book is absolutely a commentary on the beauty of nature and the beauty of humans, it is also very, very funny, especially when she fails. And fail she does. But throughout the year, and as she records every changing of the season, she learns. She learns from her garden and she learns how to garden. And the garden becomes one of her best friends. It becomes an inspiration for funny stories she tells the children. It becomes the whole purpose of her solitary lifestyle. It will become the reason why she gets rather snarky with visiting friends. It is a beautiful novella. It is very short yet very sweet. It is the ideal book to take out into the garden or into a park or nature or even a balcony and just sit out and read. It is funny, it is beautiful, it is charming, sometimes a little bittersweet, and it is an absolute gem. So, heavens forbid, we might get some sunshine this summer, then this is the ideal book to put in a pocket. Elizabeth and Her German Garden by Elizabeth von Arnim is our last book for today, and I will dub it the ideal staycation book. And now I want to hear from you. Which book would you pack on a holiday? Do you still bring physical copies, or are you a Kindle reader? Or does vacation mean no reading at all? Let me know down below in the comments and we'll talk ideal summer reads some more. In the meantime, thank you for watching. It means the world to me. Leave a like, do subscribe. And if you want some more excellent recommendations, that's easy. All you have to do is watch this video.